Hi Timothy, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Lindsay Gillespie. I'm the social worker here. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You can call me Miss Lindsay or Miss Gillespie, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. What name do you feel comfortable with?
I go by Tim.
Tim? Okay. Just to let you know ahead of time, I'll probably mess up and still call you Timothy. Just make sure you correct me each time so that way it gets into my head to stop calling you Timothy, okay?
Okay.
Basically, what we're going to do today is complete a biopsychosocial and try and figure out what's going on. But before we do that, I wanted to let you know about the confidentiality of this room. Everything that we talk about will stay between us unless your safety is at risk or the safety of someone else is at risk. So if you come in here and tell me that you want to do something bad to someone, I can't not tell someone, especially if you actually have the intent and not just the thought. Or if someone's hurting you, I have to tell someone, okay?
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So why are you here today?
I really don't know.
Okay.
My professor or my teacher just kind of set me down and was like, "You need to go here." And I was like, "All right." Fine.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming and doing as the teacher told you to, because some people don't, and I appreciate that, and I respect that. So what we're going to complete first is the biopsychosocial, and we're just going to start off with your name, which I already have, and I'm going to write Timothy on here, only so that it matches the names in the files, but I'm going to put Tim in parentheses, okay? What's your age?
I'm 16.
16, and we already talked about you don't know what your problem is or why your teacher sent you here. Your ethnicity?
I'm white.
Okay, and what grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore.
Okay. Who do you live with?
I live with my parents.
Okay. Anybody else live in the household?
I have a couple siblings.
Okay, and how many siblings do you have?
About 5 of us.
Okay. How old is the youngest?
He's about 7.
Okay, so there's a pretty big age
yeah.
gap between you guys. Are you the oldest?
No.
Okay. So with your family history, I'm basically just going to gather some information to better help me understand you, okay?
Okay.
Is there any drug or alcohol problems within your family?
Not within my family.
Okay. Any mental health needs, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder?
No.
Nothing like that? Okay. Is there any physical illnesses, like any medical problems that I should know about?
No.
Okay. The next question is going to be about you, but also about your family. Do you guys get any type of outside assistance?
We're on food stamps.
Okay. Next, I'm going to ask you about your physical functioning. So how are you health-wise?
Physically, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay. Do you have to use any hearing aids, or do you wear glasses or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Any recent trips to the hospital, anything like that?
No, not recently.
Okay, cool. The next group of questioning I'm going to ask you about is about your social area of your life, okay?
Okay.
The first one I'm going to ask you about is your social support. Do you have any social support?
I depend a lot on my mother, and I also lead on my team a lot.
Okay. So you mentioned team. So what type of team?
I play football.
Okay. So that's the recreation that you're a part of. Is football anything else?
No, just football.
Okay. I kind of jumped forward a little bit, so I'm gonna go backwards. Your living situation. Do you feel safe at home?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is there any problems at home?
No, no problem.
Okay. How would you define your family relationship?
The family's good.
Okay. No problems?
No, no problem.
Okay. So now I'm going to go into the psychological portion of the exam or assessment. And so earlier I asked you about your family's mental health, and now I'm going to ask you about yours, okay?
Okay.
Are you having any problems with sleep? No?
Sleeping.
Okay. Do you have any past history of any type of mental health need?
No.
Okay. Any family deaths?
No.
Okay. Anything at all that you feel like is inhibiting your psychological self?
No. No.
Okay. Now we're gonna go into the behavior portion. Okay. Have you been experiencing any type of behaviors recently?
I don't want to be in class.
You don't want to be in class? Okay. Well, how do you respond when you don't want to be in class?
I try to leave.
Try to leave. What does that look like? What does trying to leave look like for you?
I just kind of get up and start walking out, and the teacher will stop me, and we'll get into it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm asking for so many more questions, but what does get into it
Like,
look like?
they'll tell me to sit down, and I'll just kind of be like, nah, and then they'll threaten me with like they'll tell me to like I'll either get sent to the principal's office or they'll write me up, and I'll just yell back at them and be like, you can't do that,
Okay.
and I'll leave.
Okay. Would you say that you're having any problems with aggression?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. And it's okay to, I think so. Like that's a perfectly fine answer. That's why we're here to talk about and see what's going on. Any type of drug or alcohol use for you?
I smoked one time.
Okay. And when was that?
It was my freshman year.
Okay, so about a year ago?
About a year ago.
Okay. And nothing since then?
No.
Okay. So that's the end of our biopsychosocial. The last step of it is to make a plan, but we'll do that at the very end, okay?
Okay.
So based off of that, I'm seeing that there's you're having some behavioral problems in class, but other than that, there's not really much going on, right?
No.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna do an intervention method. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do something called a time machine.
All right.
And what that's going to be about is you're going to tell me about a time, a place, an action, or an event that you could go back to if you would. And you're going to tell me who would be there, how it would be, why those people would be there, just so I can better pinpoint what's going on. I do have one more question before we go into that. How long has have your class problems been going on, would you say?
At the beginning of towards the end of my freshman year and almost the beginning of my senior year, or my sophomore year.
Okay, so for about a year or so?
Oh, yeah.
So that matches kind of with the marijuana usage, maybe?
Yeah.
It was a similar time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, just tell me about, if you could go back in time, anywhere at all, what would it look like? Where would you be? Who would be there? That kind of thing.
Okay. I go back about a year and a half ago. It'd be, I don't know, sometime in the summer. We'd go to the lake and we'd swim and fish out there. And
Okay.
my family would be there, my brother would be back. We just time of our lives there.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you some questions about your story you gave?
Yeah.
So you mentioned a brother who would be back. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
He died in a car accident about a year ago.
Okay.
A little over a year.
Okay. So when that happened, how did your life change?
I had to take over the role of the oldest child,
Okay.
and I have more responsibilities now, and I don't have him to lean on anymore.
Okay. So his death has impacted you.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about how you handled that.
I don't think I actually did.
Okay.
It was more of it happened. I had to get over it pretty quickly and step up.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I can only imagine that would be a very difficult time for you and your family. And thank you for sharing that and trusting me with that information. So it sounds like about a year ago, things have just kind of gotten bad. Would you agree with that, or would you say that that's kind of how things have gone?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do for today is I'm going to give you some resources within the school. We actually have a bereavement group at our school, and I run it, so you'll know at least one person there. And basically what we do there is work through that question of how have you dealt with this. You can come. You don't have to come. You can just wait until next week at our session. We'll meet the same time, the same day, in the exact same room. And then we'll talk about, I want to talk more about that bereavement and that grief of going through that. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
And then once we work through that, then we'll start talking about your problems that you're facing in class, okay? But first, I think that the biggest thing that we need to focus on is how you're feeling and how you're handling this change in your life, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much for meeting with me. Do you have any other questions?
Do I get a sick note for class?
You don't get a sick note for class, but you are excused for the time that you've been with me. And that's how it will be every week. We'll meet at this time every week, and you'll be excused from wherever you're at during that time, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for meeting with me. It was nice to meet you, Tim.
Nice meeting you too.
Awesome.